Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
The Daily Compliance News for August 24, 2023, the Climate Conscious Employee. And we begin with that story from the Financial Times by an article on management by Atrakta Muni entitled How to Manage the Climate Conscious Employee. A growing segment of workers is concerned about environmental issues, presenting bosses with a host of new challenges, from supporting employees with climate anxiety to how to hire and retain eco-conscious staff. Last month, there was a LinkedIn post about a person who'd quit his job from Shell after Shell outlined plans to maintain current oil production levels. A survey by Kite Insights of more than 7,000 employees found that 71% said it was important to their motivation and well-being to take at work to take action on climate change. So the research clearly is showing most people are eco-conscious, regardless of what generation they belong to, unless, of course, they're magma hat-wearing idiots. So how are you going to incorporate that into your overall employee attraction and retention strategy? Next up, in a very interesting article from Time magazine, of all places, entitled How Poverty is a Direct Result of Corruption, it outlines just exactly that corruption in the United States is leading to poverty. And the alleviation of poverty through a variety of government programs has shown that in many of the most disadvantaged places in America, and the government report named Mississippi, it's shown that government corruption was disturbingly common. They reported firsthand how members of local elites exploited the community's meager resources through corruption of all kinds, and a pattern enduring across generations. This occurred in Appalachia, South Texas, and the historic Cotton Belt. And the finding, I think, would be consistent with what many people believe happens outside the United States, but unfortunately here, it was inside the United States. Next up, from the New York Times, over 3,100 people were charged with pandemic relief fraud, said the Department of Justice. And that's obviously a huge number and very disturbing, but robust prosecutions by the DOJ. And our final story is there's a new White House lawyer, as President Biden has named former federal prosecutor Ed Siskel as the top White House counsel going forward. Good luck, Mr. Siskel. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.